Please welcome back to the stage the Digital Chamber's Cody Carbone, joined by Senator Tim Scott, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs.
Good. All right, everyone. Saving the best for last.
Where is he?
Chairman Tim Scott, thank you so much for joining us today. I know it's been a crazy few days with the storms and everything that's been going on in the Senate, but we really appreciate
your flexibility as well, because I know I was supposed to be here this morning, but the American Airlines, we have a deal. If it doesn't take off, I can't be on it. And so I was stuck in Charleston last night, thankfully, and unfortunately at the same time. So we're here today, thank God.
Well, we appreciate you so much for spending time with us today and for your leadership. You know, under your leadership, and what a difference a year makes in the Senate Banking Committee, we've successfully advanced the Genius Act, got that signed into law, and now we're trying to advance market structure. Why is that so important? Why are you prioritizing this?
Well, the Genius Act has already had a powerful impact for good in the market. Too often we have really politicians and bureaucrats who want to make decisions without any rules of the road. The market structure gives us the rules of the road for what I believe is going to be the most powerful force for good for kids like me growing up in poverty in a single-parent household. I think about the theory of democratization. It becomes real because of this industry. And so every single thing we do to advance legislation that creates the kind of rules of the road that the best thinkers and founders want to do business in America, it makes the entire country the most economically dominant place on the planet.
Right. We all want the U.S. to be the crypto capital of the world.
Yes.
So we know a lot of work has gone on to getting market structure done. Can you please give us an update? Where are we on getting clarity?
Let us pray. I'll tell you, we have made a lot of progress over the last probably 30 days or so. Thank God for the White House getting involved. Patrick Wood has been incredibly helpful. Now we have a bipartisan coalition. Senator Also Brooks from Maryland. We have Tom Tillis from North Carolina working on one of the more important issues that remains undone. But we are making progress on all the other parts that we don't hear about. From Title I, the front door is still somewhat of a challenge that we have to overcome. We have issues in DeFi that we're working with Mark Warner on. So we have ethics and quorum. So we're working on a lot of issues, but every single day, it feels like the big momentum is finally on our side, and we're heading in the right direction, and we're doing it on a normal clip now, which is really good news from my perspective.
And it's just incredible of where we are, compared to where we've been, that we're actually close to getting a market structure framework.
Yes, I will say one of the things I learned when I was still in business in the private market, that you have to give people deadlines to get things done. And I had some artificial deadlines that I put in place that kind of forced the conversation because it had been languishing for too long. And so we missed lots of my artificial deadlines, but I put them in place so that we would actually have the conversation and create a sense of urgency. Because I do believe that at some point, politics takes over everything. And I don't want that to be what leads to this not happening this year. And so I'm really excited about the fact that we have all the players on the biggest issues now talking to each other in a bipartisan fashion.
You alluded to one of the biggest issues, stablecoin yield, stablecoin rewards. Everyone in this audience knows it well. I've been in some of the meetings between the crypto companies and the banks at the White House. Can you give an update on the progress there?
We are making progress. I will say I was in the office today with Stripe's Patrick Collison, and just walking through some of the success that we've had. I will say once again, the good news from my perspective is that this really is not about having a partisan vote. This is about having both sides at the table, fighting over the differences, and at the same time, having all players, the industry and the financial services, the banks, at the same table. And I believe that this week we will have the first proposal in my hands to take a look at. And if that actually happens before the end of this week, and I think that it will, we'll at least know that the sketch looks like the person. And if that's the case, I think we're going to be in much better shape.
And you see that as the biggest hang up towards a markup?
I see it as the largest publicly celebrated challenge that we have. I mean, listen, I think if you want to be real about it, listen, the issues of ethics is an issue that we've been working on. I think we're very close to landing the plane on ethics issue. On quorum, we saw the CFTC leave, and we know that that's a big issue for our friends on the other side of the aisle, so we're fixing that as well. I think we're moving forward with some noms, which is great news. We were able to get some out of the other side. I think the issue of DeFi is something that Mark Warner's held on tightly, AML being a very important part. So I think we're working on that issue. I've talked to Mark probably every week for the last 8 or 10 weeks. We're still in a constructive process there. And then there's some in Title I around the issues of that front door and who's carved in and who's carved out. I think that's an important part of the issue that we have to fix as well. So good news is those issues seem to pale in comparison to the rewards issue, but there's still very important outstanding issues that we are nibbling away at as we work on the more popular issue of rewards and yield.
And your committee has such a critical component of this. Obviously, the Senate Agriculture Committee has oversight of the CFTC, and that's important, but the SEC is where so much of the attention of this industry has been put on. And we just saw Chairman Atkins, the other regulator, get off stage. What's the difference been like in working with this SEC and Chairman Atkins versus the Gary Gensler regime?
Hallelujah! I mean, literally, Gensler was killing things as he went through. I cannot think of a more weaponized SEC against the future of American finance than Gensler. It was that bad. Does anyone disagree with me out there? Not a single hand went up. Okay, good. Well, very smart audience. Yeah. And then you bring in Paul Atkins, someone who is smart, refreshing, and he's leaning into the conversation about not simply making America the crypto capital of the world, but also making sure that we are always the most economically dominant player in the market. And that's why, as we think about the Genius Act and stablecoins and having the dollar for dollar and the U.S. Reserve Treasuries being a part of that process, that only strengthens our position globally, not just in America, but globally. That is really powerful and important. And if you want the best thinkers on the planet to call America home and to build it here, we need to set these capitalists and free marketeers free here so they won't do it in Singapore or somewhere else where they say, well, it's easier and the market rules are clear and objective. Gensler, do it, and then I'm going to figure out whether it was right or wrong. And Atkins, let's make it clear and let's go forward.
I can't tell you how appreciated it is from this industry that the Senate Banking Committee has prioritized these issues. It seems very intentional. Right out of the gate, it's stablecoin frameworks, and then it's market structure. President Trump often speaks about the U.S. should be the crypto capital of the world, and you've said it a few times. What does that look like to you over the next, 5, 10 years? I always say, and I said it earlier today, what we do this year sets the tone for the next 30 in terms of tech and adoption. What does it mean for the U.S. to be the crypto capital of the world?
I mean, I love Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and he starts in there about begin with the end in mind. And so I'm looking 10 years down the road and looking back 10 years from now. And one of the things I expect to see is that we're not talking about the crypto industry. We're not talking about digital assets. We're just talking about ways of doing business. And whether it's our military, our financial systems, faster delivery, less time of your money being in someone else's hands because you have a direct trajectory to your own cash. All of those things happen because of this industry. And so from my perspective, 10 years from now, we'll see our military better off because of blockchain. We'll see our every aspect of government, every aspect of the federal of the private sector will be touched and improved by the founders and the thinkers and the visionaries who are part of this industry. The ecosystem should overwhelm every aspect of life in this country, and I think it's going to be a good thing. You tie that with artificial intelligence, I think you understand the brand new world that we will help bring to the market.
And I'm curious, as you're leading and being the face of digital assets now in the U.S. Senate, one of the faces and one of the leaders in moving this agenda, You proudly represent South Carolina. How are you hearing about that back home? Are your constituents coming to you, your small businesses, your big businesses in the state saying, we want digital asset policy?
Oh yeah, listen. So I go to a couple gyms in Charleston, and when I hit the gym, I would say 30% of the time, someone walks up to me and says, "What's taking so long?" And I say to them, "You can't imagine how fast this is actually going," because people are hungry for change. And several folks who are, a couple 25-year-olds who have been for the last 6 years, started working right out of high school, putting like 40% of their paychecks into the crypto world. And now I ran into one guy who has a net worth over $1 million. He's 26 years old. Wow. I mean, literally changing the face of wealth and opportunity and access. So I hear a lot of that, and even frankly from my nephew, who doesn't live in South Carolina but visits oftentimes. He's a doctor, and he's also very invested with the Georgia Tech, and he's one of the first individuals to say, "Uncle Timmy, this is real. Don't miss it. It's going to change everything you think you know about everything to do with finance." I am now running into people, college educated and not, who are leaning into this industry in a powerful way, and expect really cool things to come. And so a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, a little frustration that it's not already done, but I tell them the truth. Hold on.
We have folks from all around the world that have come in today, advocates, and I always thank them for showing up because Absolutely. It means the world. What does it mean for you, your colleagues, when you have industry leaders come in and talk about this technology?
Well, let me just say huge. I have been blessed with a lot of smart people in the industry who have really brought their bed and blanket into my office to help me understand the critical aspects of this industry. Really helpful. But advocacy, I didn't know I put people to sleep over here too. I mean, usually it's on this side only. But those who are in the industry, when you're advocating on behalf of something that you're passionate about, it's infectious. It is so important that you stay engaged. This issue has become the issue that it is because thousands of people, hundreds of thousands around the country have been so engaged in a part of the process, part of this movement, that once you get infected, you really do believe that democratization's happening before my very eyes, that the cost is going down, competition is going up, quality is going up, and it's going to impact every place you go. You guys bring that energy into the system, and we desperately need to hear from you on both sides of the aisle, because this must be not a red issue or a blue issue. This has to be an issue of America's future. And when we couch it like that, the most remarkable things are possible.
I couldn't agree more. Before we end, I have to shout out the socks.
Thank you.
Those are awesome.
Appreciate it.
Chairman Scott, thank you so much. I know you jumped over mountains to get here today, so we really appreciate it. And I know we all in the audience feel very confident that this can get done with you at the home. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Chairman.
Thank you.